Mathematics has many applications in real life. One of the most useful applications of mathematics is in business. A pleasant morning. I am Marina Isabel Mallari from grade 11 ABM YA-1P, and today I'll be tackling simple interest and compound interest. So first, what is interest? Interest is the sum of the money paid for the use of money. The interest earned on the deposit or charge against the loan depends on three factors. So first is the rate of interest, or also called as R, which is given by the bank or charged by the lender. Second is the length of time, or also called as T, for which money is deposited or borrowed. And lastly, the sum of money deposited or borrowed, which is called the principal, or also called as P with the capital letter P. There are two types of interest: simple interest and compound interest. First, let's talk about simple interest. Simple interest is when interest on the deposit or loan is computed once for the full term of the loan. It is usually used for short-term transactions. So these are the terminologies that we use for simple interest. First is interest, or the capital I. It is a fee paid for borrowing money or other assets. Next is principal amount, or capital P, the amount of money borrowed or invested. Next is the rate, or in lowercase r, the percent of the principal paid as interest per time period. Next is time, or lowercase t, the number of days, months, or years that the money is borrowed or invested. And lastly is the maturity value. It is the sum of the interest and the principal amount. And time depends on these six. First is annual, or by year, semi-annual every 6 months, quarter or quarterly every 3 months, monthly every month, weekly every 7 days, and daily every day. But we won't use the weekly and daily for today. In order to solve the interest, you'll need the triangle formula, or in short, the triamula. We have the interest, principal amount or loan, rate, and time. Using that triamula, which is I is equals to PRT, P is equals to I over RT, R is equals to I over PT, T is equals to I over PR, and MV is equals to P plus I. Okay, so this is the first example for simple interest. Yuan deposited 5,000 pesos in the bank paying 9% simple interest for 3 years. How much would he have in his account at the end of 3 years, assuming that no withdrawal was made? First, you have to understand the given problem and analyze it. Determine what is the principal, rate, time, or look for what is missing in the stated problem. Always read the last sentence since questions of the problem are usually stated there. Here, as you can see, the question is how much would he have in his account, meaning that we are looking for the maturity value. Next is to identify the given. So we have 5,000 pesos as the principal, 9% as the rate, since rate is always in the percentage form, and 3 years as the time. So let's write that down. 5,000. Rate is 9%. Now, in order to convert the 9% into a decimal form, you have to divide it by 100. So 9 divided by 100 is 0.09. And the time is 3 years. Now, since we're looking for the maturity value, the formula for maturity value is principal plus interest. Now, we still don't have the interest, so it's still missing. So we have to use the formula in triamula to look for the interest. So I is equals to PRT. So substitute all the given. 0.09 times 3. Here, and the answer would be 1,350. So the interest would be 1,350. And the formula for maturity value is P plus I, so that would be 5,000 plus 1,350, and the answer would be 6,350. So this is the final answer. Now moving on to the second question. Brando Maribeles borrowed 15,000 pesos from a bank, charging 7% simple interest with an agreement that he would pay the principal and the interest at the end of the term. If he paid 17,100 pesos at the end of the term, how long did he use the money? Now let's repeat the same steps I did in the first example. So based on the question, if he paid 17,100 pesos at the end of the term, for how long did he use the money? So we're looking for the time. Now let's look for the given. This is the principal, the rate, and this is the maturity value because he already paid it fully. So principal is 15,000. Rate is equals to 7%, and divided by 100 again, it's going to be 0.07. And the maturity value is 17,100. Now if we want to look for the interest, it's like the vice versa of the formula of the maturity value. You have to subtract the 15,000 into the 17,100, and the answer would be 2,100. Now, we can use the triamula again since we already identified all the given. Since we're looking for the time, we're going to use the formula time is equals to interest over principal times rate. So next, of course, is to substitute all the given. So 2,100 over 15,000 times 0.07. Now let's put that in the calculator to get the final answer. Now it's in the calculator already. The answer would be 2. So the answer is 2 years. So here's the final answer or final solution. Okay, so this is the last example for simple interest. Jonathan invested 75,000 pesos in the stock market, which guaranteed an interest of 11,250 pesos after 1.5 years. At what rate would his investment earn? First, let's analyze the question. At what rate? So basically, we're looking for the rate and identify all the givens. So 75,000 is the principal, interest is 11,250, and 1.5 years for the time. Since the time is 1.5 years, we need to solve for the time first. So 1 is already a whole year or 12 months. And a half a year is 6 months. So it will be 18 months divided by 12, it would be 1.5. So the time would be 1.5. Now write all the given. Principal is equals to 75,000. Interest is 11,250. Rate is missing. And time is equals to 1.5. Since we're looking for the rate, let's use this triamula. And in here, rate is equals to interest over principal times time. And substitute all the given. Interest is 11,250. Principal is 75,000. And the time would be 1.5. Now it's already in my calculator, and the answer would be 0.1. Now in order to make the 0.1 from decimal form into percentage form, we have to times it by 100. So 0.1 times 100 is 10. So the answer would be 0.1 into 10%. So this is the final answer or final solution. Pretty easy, right? Okay, so these are the questions I prepared for you guys to answer in simple interest. You can pause the video to answer, and I'll be back after 10 seconds so that we could answer it one by one and step by step. Now I'm back. Now we're going to answer the first question for the activity. Julia de Mesa paid an interest of 5,000 pesos on a 3-year loan at 8% simple interest. What was the original loan? Now looking at the last sentence, we're looking for the principal. So principal is equals to question mark. And identify all the given. So it says interest 5,000. 3 is the time and 8% is the rate. So interest is equals to 5,000. Time is equals to 3 years. And the rate is equals to 8% or 0.08. Now let's look at the triamula. We have P is equal to I over RT. And substitute all the given. So interest is 5,000 over rate. So rate is 0.08. And time is 3. Now it's in the calculator, so equals, and the answer would be 20,833.333. Now, if you have this kind of answer, it has a lot of decimals. You have to only get the 2 decimal places and round it off. So 3, and beside it is 3 also, so it's going to stay as it is. So the answer would be 20,833.333. So the final answer is this. So this is the principal for the question number 1. So this is the second question for your activity. Now let's answer it. If a person borrowed 35,000 pesos from a bank charging 12% simple interest, how much would he or she pay at the end of 18 months? Now, always look at the last sentence. Not always, but it's just usually stated there. How much would he or she pay at the end of 18 months? So we're looking for the maturity value since it didn't say how much was the interest. Now let's answer it. Identify all the given. 35,000 is the principal, 12% is the rate. and the time is 18 months. Again, we have the months and we have to turn it into year. So 18 divided by 12, this is 18 months and 12 months, and that will be 1.5 years. So principal is 35,000. Rate is 12%. And divided by 100, it's 0.12. And time is 1.5. This is like the same question as the first example that I just gave earlier. So we're going to look for the maturity value, but we still don't have the interest. Looking at the triangular, if you can still remember, it is I is equals to PRT. So substitute all the given. So principal is 35,000. Rate is 0.12. And time is 1.5. So now it's in my calculator and the answer would be 6,300. So the interest is 6,300, but this isn't the final answer since we're looking for the maturity value. So maturity value is equals to P plus I, and 35,000 is our principal. 6,000, oh my god, it's not multiplication, it's addition. So it's 6,300, and the answer would be 41,300 maturity value, and this is the final answer. Okay, so finally, this is the last question for your activity in simple interest. Accumulate 10,000 pesos at 12% simple interest for 5 years. This is very simple. We just have to get the maturity value. P plus I. So the given is principal 10,000. 12% is the interest. The rate. And 5 years is the time. So 10,000 rate is equals to 12%. Convert it into decimal form, 0.12. And time is 5 years. And interest is missing. Same steps. Use the triangular. And then substitute all the given using the formula 0.12 times 5. Now let's put that in the calculator. So the answer would be 6,000. So in there, interest is 6,000. And of course, pretty easy. It would be P plus I. So 10,000 plus 6,000. Again, very easy. The final answer would be 16,000. So here is the final solution and final answer. Moving on, we have the compound interest. Basically, it means interest on interest. The interest payments change each period instead of staying fixed. It can be annually, semi-annually, quarterly, or monthly. These are the terminologies that we use for compound interest. First is the future value or compound amount. This is just the same as the maturity value, but we use future value for compound interest. It is the sum of interest plus principal. Next is P or principal amount or loan. R is rate. T is time or term of loan. And M is the number of interest period in a year. It is the number of payments. And I is interest. This is the formula that we are going to use in order to solve the compound interest. So the first formula is, if we're going to look for the future value, it is FV is equals to P, open parenthesis, 1 plus R over M, closing parenthesis, raised to M times T. But if we're looking for the P or the principal, it is equals to FV, opening parenthesis, 1 plus R over M, closing parenthesis, raised to negative M times T. Or, if we're looking for the interest, we have to subtract the principal into the future value. So, M means annually, semi-annual, quarterly, or monthly. If we have annually, M is equals to 1, which means we pay one time. Since it's annually, it's per year. Semi-annual, we pay it twice. So M is equals to 2. Quarterly, M is equals to 4. And monthly, M is equals to 12. Moving on, these are the examples for compound interest. But this question is not for compound interest. It's still in simple interest. And I just want to state the difference between simple interest and compound interest, even if they have the same given. So first, understand the given. How much interest will 70,000 pesos earn for 4 years if invested at 8% simple interest? So we're looking for the interest and identify all the givens. 70,000 is the principal, 4 years is the time, and 8% is the rate. So let's write that down. Rate is 8%, and of course, to turn it into a decimal form, divided by 100, and the answer would be 0.08. And time would be 4 years. Now we're looking for the interest. The formula for interest, as you can remember, it's PRT. So 70,000 as the principal, times rate 0.08, and times time, which is 4. Look at the answer. It's 22,400. So this is the principal. This is the interest. So this is the final answer. Now, we still have the same question, but it's not in simple interest anymore. It is interest compounded annually. First, let's read the question. How much interest will 70,000 pesos earn for 4 years if invested at 8% interest compounded annually? So first, let's identify all the givens. It's still the same, and the question is still interest, but now it's in compound interest form. So let's write all the given. Principal is 70,000. Rate is still the same, 8%. In decimal form, it would be 0.08. Time is 4 years. And we're looking for the interest. So looking at this formula, we're looking for the interest. So in order to get the interest, we need to get the future value first. So let's use this formula. So FV, or future value is the sum of interest and principal, is equals to P times 1 plus R over M raised to M times time. Substitute all the given. So 70,000, 1 plus 0.08 over M, or I forgot. The M is annually. It's 1. Since it's annually, we're gonna use the M is equals to 1. So 1 raised to 1 times 4. So in here, the answer would be 95,234.23. We have to round it off on the second decimal place. So the future value is 95,234.23. But this is not the final answer since we're looking for the interest. And the formula for interest is I is equals to FV minus P. So I is equals to FV minus P. So that would be 95,234.23 minus 70,000. And the answer would be 25,234.23. So this is the final answer. As you can observe, the compound interest is worth more than the simple interest, even though it has the same given. It's because this has interest on interest on interest every year. Unlike simple interest, it is computed after the full term. So after 4 years, it's going to be computed, but in here, it's going to be computed every year for 4 years. Now we have the second question for compound interest. Mr. Fernando wants to have 40,000 pesos in his account by the end of 3 years. How much should he invest today in the bank, paying 8.5% interest compounded semi-annually? So first, let's analyze the problem. We're looking for the principal. Identify all the given. This is the future value. This is the time. This is the rate. And semi-annually is the M. So let's write that down. Principal is missing. So the future value is 40,000. Rate is 8.5 and divided by 100. And the answer would be 0.085. And the time would be 3 years. And the M is semi-annually, so it's 2. Now let's look at the formula. We're going to use this formula since we're looking for the principal. So let's write that down. Principal is equal to FV times 1 plus R over M raised to negative MT. So substitute all the given. It's going to be 40,000. 1. So the rate is 0.08. The M is 2 raised to negative 2 times 3. So let's put that in the calculator. So here, the answer would be 31,612.58. So this is the final answer. Sorry for the background noise, but this is the third and last last example for compound interest. Harlan deposited 5,000 pesos in the bank, paying 12% compounded quarterly. After 4 years and 6 months, Harleen decided to close her account. How much money would she be able to get from the bank? Based on the question, we're looking for the future value and identify all the givens. 5,000 pesos is the principal, 12% is the rate, and 4 years and 6 months is the time. Now, in order to make this 4 years and 6 months into like a whole number or like in decimal form, we have to first put it in the fraction form. So this is the 12 months. Above it is the 6 months. And on the left, as the whole number is 4. Now let's turn this into a improper fraction. So 4 times 12 is 48. Plus 6, it would be 54 over 12. Now 54 divided by 12 is 4.5. Now that we have our time, we could now answer for the future value. So principal is 5,000. Rate is 12%. But in decimal form, it's 0.12. Time is 4.5. And M is 4 since it said compounded quarterly. Now we're looking for the future value. In here, this is the formula for future value. So let's write that down. Future value is equals to P times 1 plus R over M raised to M times time. So substitute all the given. That will be 1 plus 0.12 over 4 raised to 4 times 4.5. So here's the answer. It will be 8,512.17. So the final answer or the future value would be 8,512.17. And this is the final answer. Okay, so now these are the questions I prepared for you to answer from the topic compound interest. These are only 3 questions and you can pause the video and I'll be back after 10 seconds so we could answer it by one and step by step. Okay, so this is the first question for your activity in compound interest. If Jana deposited 40,000 pesos in a bank with an interest of 4% compounded semi-annually, how much is the interest after 2 years? So based on the question, we're looking for the interest. And identify the given. 40,000 is the principal, 4% is the rate, 2 years is the time, and semi-annually is the M. So let's write that down. So rate is equals to 4%, but in decimal form it's 0.04. Time is 2 years, and M is 2, since it's semi-annually. Now let's look at our formula. Since we're looking for the interest, it is required to look for the future value first. So let's use this formula first. So let's write that down. Future value is equals to P times 1 plus R over M raised to M times time. So substitute all the given. 40,000 is the principal times 1 plus 0.04 over M, it's 2, and raised to 2 times 2. So here is it, and the answer would be 43,297.29. So let's write that down, 43,297.29. But this is not the final answer since this is the future value. But we're looking for the interest, so future value minus P. So substitute all the given, 297.29 minus 40,000. And the answer would be 3,297.29. So this is the final answer. Check your answers if you got correct, or look if you got wrong, then look at the part where you got wrong and try to understand why you got it wrong. Okay, so now this is the second question for your activity in compound interest. Haley wants to earn 32,872.39 pesos in her account at the end of 10 years. How much should she invest today in the bank, paying 5% interest compounded quarterly? Now, based on the question, how much should she invest? So we're looking for the principal. 32,872 is the future value, time is 10 years, and the interest is 5%, and the M is compounded quarterly, so M is equals to 4. So let's write all the given. Principal is missing. Rate is 5%. In decimal form, it would be 0.05. The time is 10. M is equals to 4. And the future value is 32,872.39. Now, since we're looking for the principal, we're going to use this formula. So let's write that down. Principal is equals to future value times 1 plus R over M raised to negative MT. And of course, substitute all the given. 32,872.39 times 1 plus 0.05 over 4 and raised to negative 4 times 10. So this is the final answer. It would be 20,000.00004. And since we're going to get only 2 decimal places, it's going to be 20,000.00. So the principal is 20,000.00. And this is the final answer for question number 2. And finally, this is the last question for your activity in compound interest. If Lana deposited 150,000 pesos in the bank, paying 10% interest compounded monthly, how much would be the interest after 5 years? So based on the question, we're looking for the interest and identify the given, of course. 150,000 is the principal, 10% is the rate, compounded monthly is the M, so M is equals to 12 and the time is 5. So write down all the given. 150,000 is the principal, time is 5, rate is 10, in decimal form it's going to be 0.10, M is equals to 12. Now again, we just had the same question. We're just looking for the same answer. It's interest. So in order to get the interest, we need to find first the future value. So let's write down the formula. So future value is equals to principal times 1 plus rate over M raised to M times time. And substitute all the given. It's going to be 150,000 times 1 plus 0.10 over 12 raised to 12 times 5. So here's the answer for future value. It's 246,796.34. So let's write that down. But this is not the final answer since this is only the future value and we're looking for the interest. So future value minus P, substitute all the given.
minus 150,000. So the interest is 96,796.34. So this is the final answer.
I hope you learned something from me. And don't forget that mathematics gives us hope that every problem has a solution. Once again, I am Reina Isabel O. Mallari. Thank you for watching. Bye!